We search the stars for signs of complex, sentient life. But what if it has been here all along?
Hidden in the cold darkness of the Pacific?
This is the Giant Pacific Octopus, Enteroctopus dofleini. It has 8 arms, 3 hearts, and blue, copper-based blood.
It possesses no skeleton.
Yet it can solve puzzles, recognize human faces, and escape nearly any enclosure. The biggest is a mind. But it is not like ours. It is a mind that evolved on a completely separate path. A branch of life that diverged from our own. Over 600 million years ago. The question is not just how it is intelligent, but why. The deep, cold waters of the North Pacific are a brutal theater. Dark, unforgiving, and relentlessly competitive. Here, survival is a game of physics and biology. And this creature is its grandmaster. We think of intelligence as a tool for social animals, a way to navigate complex hierarchies, to cooperate, to build. We see it in primates, in cetaceans, in elephants. The octopus shatters this assumption. It is a profound solitary. It lives alone. It hunts alone. And for the most part, it dies alone. A brain with no body.
Or perhaps a body that is a brain.
This is the first paradox of the octopus mind. Of its 500 million neurons, roughly the same count as a dog, more than 2/3 are not in its head. They are woven directly into its 8 arms. Each arm can taste, touch, smell, and think independently.
We are witnessing a truly distributed consciousness.
I am watching one now, tucked into a rocky den 20 fathoms down. Its eyes, cautious and analytical, track my movements. But its arms are doing something else entirely. One arm probes deep into a crack for a crab, its suckers methodically testing the surface. Another gently explores my camera housing, tasting the metal and glass. A third arm is simultaneously rearranging stones at the entrance to its lair. This is multitasking, taken to an evolutionary extreme. The central brain, the part behind its eyes, simply gives a high-level command. A directive like search for food or investigate threat. The arms then execute that command, each one acting as a semi-autonomous agent. This decentralized system allows it to process an astonishing amount of sensory information, all at once. It is a living, thinking network. And this network is encased in the most sophisticated camouflage on the planet. The skin of the octopus is a biological marvel. It is a living canvas, connected directly to its brain. Thousands of specialized pigment cells, called chromatophores, expand and contract, instantly painting new colors. Deeper layers, iridophores and leucophores, reflect and scatter ambient light. And papillae muscles in the skin push outwards, changing its very texture. It doesn't just change color to match a rock. It becomes the rock. It doesn't just mimic seaweed. It becomes the seaweed, swaying perfectly in the current. All of this, in an instant, faster than we can blink. It is thought made visible. An emotion, a reaction, a strategy, broadcast directly onto its skin. But this incredible power presents the deepest paradox of all. The giant Pacific octopus, for all its genius, lives for only 3 to 5 years. It is an intelligence that flares into existence, learns everything about its world from scratch. And then, just as it reaches its peak, it is programmed to die. It has no culture. It passes no knowledge to its offspring. Everything it knows, it learns for itself, alone. A life of breathtaking complexity, lived and lost in solitude. Why would evolution build such a magnificent, costly brain, only to throw it away? This is the central struggle of the octopus. A mind built for eternity, trapped in a disposable body.
To understand this creature, we must follow it into the shadows.
Its life is defined by 2 opposing, powerful forces: the constant, daily threat of annihilation, and the single, all-consuming biological imperative that will ultimately and tragically end its life. To survive, it must become invisible, but to continue its line, it must be found. This is the daily reality. The hunt. For a soft-bodied animal in a world of shells and teeth, being a predator is as dangerous as being prey. Success and survival depend on perfect execution. It must see and process and act, becoming an ambush made of pure thought. Our subject has spotted movement. A Dungeness crab, armored and alert, scuttles on the sand. The octopus freezes. Its skin instantly flashes a new pattern, be not of the sand it's on, but of the algae-covered rock behind the crab. It is anticipating the crab's field of vision. It doesn't crawl. It flows, pouring itself over the seafloor, arm by arm, sucker by sucker, making no sound, displacing minimal water. This is patience, a cognitive process, a strategy being formed in real time. It's not just instinct, it's a calculation. How close? Which angle? When to strike? Now. In a fraction of a second, the hunt is over. It explodes from its camouflage. Not with a clumsy lunge, but by unfurling the web between its arms, creating a living parachute to trap the crab. There is no escape.
The arms envelop the prey, the powerful, parrot-like beak at the center of its body
Is brought to bear. A venomous saliva paralyzes the crab and begins to dissolve it from within. That ink is not just a smokescreen. It's a complex chemical decoy. It contains tyrosinase, a compound that irritates a predator's eyes and temporarily numbs its sense of smell. It is a ghost, leaving a chemical echo while the real animal is already gone. But what happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? A shadow detaches from the gloom, a harbor seal. An intelligent, warm-blooded predator, fast, efficient, and relentless. The octopus's camouflage is useless. The seal hunts by echolocation and sight. This is a battle of wits. The octopus has no armor. It cannot outrun the seal. It must outthink it. It jets backward, leaving a massive cloud of ink.
The seal punches through the cloud, confused for a moment.
But the octopus is already executing its next move. It doesn't swim for the deep. It swims for the complex. It spies a jagged reef, a maze of volcanic rock. Its greatest vulnerability, its soft body, now becomes its greatest strength. The seal, bound by its skeleton, cannot follow. The octopus, a being of pure muscle and nerve, pours itself into a crack no wider than its own eyeball. The only solid part of its entire body is its beak. If the beak fits, the entire animal can pass. Survival. Day after day. A life of constant, high-stakes cognitive performance. But this relentless cycle of each and avoid being equal is all building toward a single, final, irreversible act. This is the fatal drive. As the water temperature changes, as the days shorten, a new imperative overrides all others. The solitary genius must abandon its solitude. A mature male, perhaps 4 years old, at the absolute peak of his power and intelligence. This begins his terminal journey. He stops hunting. He stops maintaining his den. His entire being is now focused on one goal: finding a female. He travels for miles, a terrible risk, moving across open ground. He is vulnerable, and he seems to know it. We are watching a large male, his arms stretching nearly 14 feet. He approaches a den. He waves one arm, a specific, specialized arm, in a slow, rhythmic pattern.
This is the Hectocotylus, a modified arm used to deliver sperm.
He is signaling. I am not food. I am a mate. A large female emerges. This is the most dangerous moment of his life. She is larger than him. And in the world of the octopus, a smaller animal is, by default, prey. Cannibalism is common. The exchange is brief. He stays at a distance, extending only the Hectocotylus. He reaches across the gap, inserts the arm into her mantle, and deposits a spermatophore, a packet of sperm. Then he retreats. His life's purpose is complete. From this moment, his decline begins. He will wander the seafloor, a ghost of his former self. His magnificent brain begins a programmed self-destruction. This is senescence. He will stop eating entirely. Within a few weeks, he will be dead. He has passed his genes and his mind into the future. For the female, the climax is not the mating. It is the beginning of her long, final duty. She finds a deep, secure den. And here, she begins to lay her eggs. Not hundreds, not thousands, but up to 100,000. She weaves them into long, pale strings, like grapes, hanging them from the roof of her cave. Her fate is now sealed. She will never leave this den. She will never eat again. Her entire being, her intelligence, her strength, is now singularly devoted to this one final task: protecting the next generation. She will guard them, clean them, and push oxygenated water over them with her siphons until her own body consumes itself. For 6 months, she has been here. In the cold, absolute darkness. Her world has shrunk to this single, vital task. She is a living engine, slowly consuming itself to fuel the future. Her arms, once instruments of power and precision, are now thin. Her skin is pale, pockmarked with lesions. Her brilliant mind is clouding, the programmed decline taking hold. But she does not stop. She cleans the eggs, she blows the water, she defends them from scavengers.
To her very last breath.
I am watching the end of a life and the beginning of thousands. Her arms, moving with a faint, final tremor, gently push on the egg casings.
She is helping them hatch.
And then they emerge. They are called paralarvae. Thousands upon thousands of them, each no bigger than a grain of rice. They are translucent, already pulsing, already hunting. They drift up, out of the dim, towards the distant light of the surface, to join the plankton. The mother's work is done. She will not see them go. Her body, exhausted, finally goes still. She has guarded the future and paid the ultimate price. Her story ends, as all octopus stories do, in a sacrifice. This is the great filter. Of the 100,000 that hatched, perhaps only 1 or 2 will survive to adulthood. They will be consumed by whales, by fish, by jellyfish.
They will starve. They will freeze.
This seems like a staggering, terrible waste. Which brings us back to the central mystery. Why build such a complex mind only to subject it to this brutal gamble? It is because of the gamble. This is the evolutionary answer. The octopus is trapped in a biological arms race. It has no shell, no spine, no armor. It is the most vulnerable of creatures. To survive, evolution bypassed armor and invested everything in cognition. The brain is not a luxury. It is the armor. The camouflage, the problem solving, the spatial memory, the motor control are the octopus's shell, its teeth, its claws, all rolled into one. Because its life is so short and solitary, it has no parents to teach it, no group to protect it. The single survivor of that planktonic lottery must descend to the seafloor alone. And in a matter of days, figure out how to hunt, how to hide, and how to think.
It requires a brain that can learn, and learn fast.
The Giant Pacific Octopus is a creature made of pure, desperate, brilliant adaptability. And its tragic end is also part of this strategy. The programmed death, senescence, is not a flaw. Research suggests it is a vital evolutionary failsafe.
By dying, the mother removes a massive, hungry, cannibalistic predator.
From the very area where her vulnerable young will soon settle.
She dies, so they might live.
This is alien intelligence.
It is a second, independent genesis of the mind. It shows us that consciousness is not a single peak, with humanity at the top.
It is a vast, branching tree of possibilities. The octopus is not a lesser intelligence. It is a different intelligence. A mind distributed through its arms. A being that thinks with its skin. A consciousness that burns with incandescent brightness before extinguishing itself for the sake of the future. It is the Pacific's other great experiment in thought. A masterpiece of evolution, hidden in plain sight. To look into the eye of an octopus is to see an echo of our own curiosity, reflected back from a mind built on a different blueprint. It is a profound and humbling reminder that our world is not just defined by the intelligent understand, but by the vast, silent, and alien awarenesses that thrive within the deep. The ocean is not just a place of life. It is a place of minds.